Welcome, family. Good evening, afternoon, morning, whatever time of day it is you're watching me. I'm so glad to be here, excited and delighted to be with you for another spiritual awakening. Family, you know what to do. Tag and share, share and tag, tag and share, share and tag. Almighty, we thank you for this wonderful opportunity to declare and decree truths. Lead us and guide us into all truth. And your will is done in us, with us, and through us. In Yeshua's name, we pray. His way, his name is nurture and power. It is so, and so it is. So grateful to be with you here on this wonderful day. Come on, tag and share, share and tag. Tag and share, share and tag. Tag and share, share and tag. Tag and share and tag. And those who are logging in, let me know if you can see and hear me well. That's it. Let me know if you can see and hear me well. That's it. Tag and share. Share and tag. We're allowing a few more people to join us. That's it. Tag and share. Share and tag. So excited and delighted. Always honored and privileged to be in your regal midst, your gracious, wonderful midst. It is always good to speak to you. It is always good to be in your presence. And I am always, again, honored to connect, honored to know, and honored to be able to speak to you on this evening. Tag and share, share and tag. Tag and share, share and tag. Good evening. God bless you. Bishop Sanders, good to see you. Chris of Faith is in his out tonight. Thank you. She's tagging some good folk. Tag and share, share and tag. Tag and share, share and tag. I'm going to start our discussion here in just a few minutes on spiritual awakening. Going to give a couple more people an opportunity to join us. I always like to remind you, you're made in the image and the likeness of an almighty creator. You are the divine offspring. You're not merely a spirit. You're a spiritual species of a God class. You're not powerless. You're powerful. And so I want you to type real quickly in the comment section, I am powerful. I want you to own it. As you're typing it, I want you to feel the power and the energy surging through you, the presence of God alive in you. I am powerful. Come on, type that in the comment section. I am powerful. I am powerful. It is the truth, and I have permission from God to be great. I am powerful. I have permission from God to operate from the power that worketh within us. I am powerful. That's it. Declare, decree, and own your power. Don't deny your power, but own the power you are and own the power that you possess. Again, it's an honor and a privilege to be with you. Few housekeeping opportunities. Don't forget that you can join us on Patreon. We're building a spiritual community there. And I am happy to report that people are joining the ranks of our spiritual community on Patreon every week, not just the free tiers, but the paid tiers, tiers 1 and 2. And simply you can download the Patreon app and search for AG Green Now. And what will come up is this banner. This banner will come up that says Revolution Inc. That's the name of the spiritual community. It just happens to be under the URL name AG Green Now, which is what I do everything in. You can visit us there and join. Again, we're going to roll out probably 1 or 2 more videos. We have inspirational posts multiple days a week. And I'm continuing to research topics. I've got some shows planned for you, reaching out to guests, so forth and so on. Make sure you join us, patreon.com/AG Green Now, if you want to use your PC or your laptop or your phone. And of course, you can download the Patreon app again and just search for AG Green Now. So excited to have you on, and your membership helps to support me in what I'm doing in terms of ministry, teaching, giving, so forth and so on. And of course, as I said, it's not a community for traditional Christians. It's for non-traditional. It's people who want to expand in terms of their research, in terms of their awareness and understanding about certain spiritual concepts. And we unmine, or I should say unearth, or mine various different powerful nuggets and trinkets that we like to share on various different topics. I will be discussing everything on that platform, everything from spirituality to sexuality, from sexuality to business, um, of course, limiting beliefs, law of attraction, God, creation, marriage, relationships. We're just going to delve into a whole lot of subjects on the platform. And so I want to encourage you, when you can, take time to connect with us there in that precious, precious, precious community. Now, before I go forth in sharing some spiritual nuggets with you to help awaken you even further, to expand your awareness on this particular day. I want to ask, how's everybody doing today? How's everyone doing today? So remember, this is a subjective answer, so there is no judgment here. How we doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing this fine day? Talk back to me. Tell me how you're doing. Tell me how you're feeling real quickly. How are you? How are you? Talk to me. How are you doing? How are you feeling? I'm curious to know what's on your mind tonight. How are you feeling? How are you doing? Talk back to me. Talk back to me. How are you doing? What kind of day did you have? So forth and so on. I'm always interested and fascinated to know. All right, let's see. Pamela Moore says, Happy Hump Day. Lisa says, Dr. Child says, great. Pastor Turk says, pretty well. Awesomeness, awesomeness. Anybody else want to share how your day has been going thus far? Bishop Avery Sanders said, doing good. Tired but good. That's my family out of St. Louis. The superintendent in the Church of God in Christ just bought a new facility there in the city of St. Louis. Pastor Sanders, good to see you on, my brother. He's not just a pastor, but he's an entrepreneur, a real estate agent. He does a whole lot of things. Thank you for asking me, Dr. Childs. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So I feel blessed. I could say a lot more about that, but every day that I can operate with a sense of fulfillment, that is a wonderful day for me. And I'm glad you asked. I appreciate that. I was talking to a loved one here not long ago and sharing some nuggets with her and just letting her know that in response to that question, my goal daily is now to operate in a sense of fulfillment. It's not necessarily to be happy, but to be fulfilled. To be fulfilled. Paul talks about the various diverse states that we can be in, including himself as he personalized it. But he went on, I'm paraphrasing, to in whatever state he was in, he learned how to be content. Contentment isn't complacency, but it's fulfillment. It's fulfillment. It's within yourself having such self-actualization that you're comfortable with who you are. And at the same time, you kind of alter the filter to interpret life in a way that's always beneficial, positive, and working for your good. And from that, I derive inner fulfillment. So, yes, we could say this could be better and that could be better. I'm speaking of myself personally. But I have learned to, number one, believe that it's already done. And now, number two, in this more even keel balanced state of consciousness that I operate from, to strive to have fulfillment. And within the context, or I should say the realm or the world of fulfillment for me is also peace. It's also peace. I want you to type it in the comment section, peace, peace. None of this is in my presentation tonight, but I sense, and leading to just elaborate briefly on that peace, peace, peace. And always remember, peace and faith, faith and peace are interconnected, because when you have peace, it typically is because you have faith as it relates to what's happening in your life, the Almighty God, as it relates to how you relate to yourself, how you relating to the world at large, the world in relation to you. Peace is important. And I'm telling you right now, I'm just being honest, as people, desire to have hold a place in this space in my life, It's got to be, you got to be peaceful. You got to be peaceful. If you are disruptive, if you're unbalanced, if you unbalanced emotionally, unbalanced intellectually, if you are disturbed inwardly and you want to bring that disturbance into my life, that's a challenge for me. And I have to tell people now, even in the romantic sense, even anybody who think they have an interest in me, if you're not peaceful, you're not going to last in my orbit. I don't deal with anything that's not peaceful. And that doesn't mean you don't have to deal with difficult situations. That doesn't mean there won't be contention. That doesn't mean that there won't be confrontation. All of those things are necessary. But at the end of my day, if I can't find peace in it, I can't invest my heart in it. Just going to be honest. I lived through too many seasons of hell, and I'm at an advanced, when I want to say advanced, but I want to say a mature stage in my life where peace is my portion. Peace must be my portion. I don't do drama. I treat drama like Yeshua. I treat drama like Yeshua. When storms arise, I speak peace to it and I make it be still. But and I'm not going to be animated. I'm not going to feed into the frenzy. I'm not going to do that. I want to maintain my inner peace because that's important to me. It's very important to me. Just something that I just thought to share with you. So if it's disturbing your peace, disrupting your peace, it's not really worth it. Whether it's a job, a relationship, an ambition, whatever. If it's something that is going to cause challenge your peace, then you need to reconsider it. And that's not to say that. And let me say this. I don't know. I'm on this. I'm having conversations with different people about different things who are connected to me. And I was telling one loved one recently that we have to learn how to evaluate the types of relationships that we allow in our lives. Can I keep talking about this? This is not in my notes. This is not not on my agenda. Can I elaborate? Do I have a few more minutes to elaborate? I want to make sure y'all going to hang with me before I get into part two of what I discussed last week on concerning see it and be it. Can I talk about this just a little bit more? I talk about this just a little bit more. I'm waiting on some responses in the chat. I'm looking at the chat. I'm waiting on some yeses or some nos. I just need a couple more minutes, if you don't mind, to share this with you. You say, well, dude, why you need my permission? I want to know if you want to hear it or not. Okay, I got it. Sure. All right. I got a yes. Thank you. Uh, we have to, especially people who are people helpers, ministry people, people who serve, teachers, leaders, preachers, people who work with the community at large, people who are healers, I should say, who know that they have an assignment to speak into people's lives and to help people. You have to make sure that you observe these relationships that desire to enter your space. And as it relates to the inner core and the inner circle of your life, or it's like the inner circle are the people who are the most important to you, and then the outer circle, those relationships, they have heart and life and love in them, but they're not the same as the inner circle. And I think that sometimes people get confused in those genres that I just mentioned because we have a heart to serve and a heart to bless and a heart to empower and a heart to help. And we don't understand that those relationships are for that purpose. But if you mistakenly let it get beyond that circle in the concentric circles, if you let it progress too far toward your inner circle and then sometimes mistakenly get in your inner circle, that means that the line has gotten blurred. You have missed or improperly evaluated the status of that person. And now there's a lot of calamity, there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of drama that's in your heart now. And it can create tumult. Whereas that person was there for you, may minister to them, pray with them, help them, encourage them, lead them, guide them. But if you mistakenly, for example, make them a friend or make them a close friend or something like that, which requires deeper investment, more committed investment, more loyal investment, then that means the expenditure of your energy is going to be greater, which means the potential for you to be depleted, the potential for you to be hurt, the potential through this vulnerability that's now in this love connection, this connection of concern, then which creates things like obligation and loyalty, uh, so forth and so on. Now it is going to potentially complicate your life. So I just say to you, be careful, because if you allow people to go past a certain point and you open your heart to a certain point, then now you've taken on the full weight and responsibility of that person's fate through the eyes and the lenses of love. And you could be in for a roller coaster ride, all because you mistook the fact or were mistaken about the fact that I'm just supposed to serve them in this outer layer, not let them get past certain levels to get to a point where I open myself up more, where I am totally and completely obligated, whether it's in a friendship sense or otherwise. Was I making any sense with what I just said? Did that make any sense to anybody? So some of these folks are just supposed to be people you help and serve in that capacity and not anything else. Because some of us, number one, when we love, we love. Number two, when we're loyal, we're loyal. Number three, when we're there for you, we're there for you. Plain and simple. Everybody's not built the same. Did I make any sense? Pamela says, I hear you. Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else understand the words that just came out of my mouth? So be careful. And then you'll wake up one day and you're heavy laden. It's because you invested your heart maybe in a relationship that was supposed to only be in the outer fringes of your life, not in the inner fringes or the inner circles of your life, because there's always more vulnerability and openness. The more you let people into your life, the more you open yourself up to them, trust and so forth and so on. Proverbs 29:18. Proverbs 29:18. Proverbs 29:18. We could quote it, but we'll go ahead and read it from the text. 29:18. Some things for your consideration. Where there is no vision, the people perish, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he. No vision, no vision. We're discussing part 2 in a series that I started with you last week. See it to be it. See it to be it. So type it in the comment section. See it to be it. This is part 2. See it to be it. This is part 2. See it to be it. Thank you for your guidance, Spirit of the living God. See it to be it. I like to discuss topics like this because if you do not have an understanding of laws and principles, then God bless you, sir, Pastor White, Jeremiah White, good to see you. If you don't have an understanding of certain laws and principles, then You can mean well and you can hear well, but if there isn't an appropriate or proper application that's in alignment with the principle, then you're not going to see the measure of success that you should. Bless you. Childhood friend Mark Wiggins. God bless you. Good to see you, man. And so I like to have discussions like this with people because in all religions in the world, in more specificity with what most of you all are acquainted with here, that Christianity, there's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of dance and there's a lot of praising. There's a lot of all that, and I'm all for that. But at the end of the day, people's lives still seem to be marginalized. Folks seem to be miserable. People seem to be very uptight. People continue to struggle with self-concept. They struggle with self-identity. They struggle with self-worth. Mhm. Yes, they still struggle with a lot of internal issues, even in their ability to appropriately relate to the Almighty, to the Creator. It is diluted and polluted because it all traces back to what you're thinking, what you're imagining, what you're visualizing, and what you're speaking. And I have to tell you that, again, reminding you, and I touched on the text last week, I'll touch on a little bit more, and we'll revisit a couple of more texts on tonight, that no matter what you hear, it goes through being filtered, or the mind acts like a filter that provides what we personalize as context, which somehow, some way, either attaches itself to existing core beliefs, or we discard if we reject it because it doesn't fit within the realm of our systematic processing of thought or our systemic thinking. So all of us, in terms of what we call an understanding, now without get an understanding, but an understanding is really based on your core beliefs. It's what you believe. So that's why you can see things working for some people that's not working for other people. And I want people to understand that after you finish feeling good, if your life is not operating within the parameters of good principles, then you will not be able to retain the inspiration you receive. Did you catch what I just said? Inspiration is good when you can retain it. And as a matter of fact, inspiration is supposed to spark motivation. And that motivation should be related to good, sound, powerful thinking. Good, sound, powerful thinking. Good, sound, powerful understanding. But if you lack good, sound, powerful understanding, hear me real clearly, then you're going to manifest a reality that is going to produce all kinds of different experiences that you don't like. And it's all because, and I'm going to say this, it's all because you're not rooted and grounded in understanding these spiritual laws and these spiritual principles and how they work. So, for example, if you don't have a solid understanding of the law of gravity, it will kill you. You will die by that law. And it is a law that, in and of itself, was designed by a master designer to keep our feet on the ground. And of course, scientists would say for other particular things. But if you don't understand how the law works and you go up too high without a parachute, or you go up too high without a device, some type of device to help you float or some type of device to help you manage gravity, then you're going to die. It's just as simple as that. It's not the law in itself that killed you. It was your ignorance in knowing how that particular law worked. Am I making any sense to anybody? So I say this and I say it moving forward. And I know people sometimes don't understand me when I say this, and then people get conflicted because there are multiplicity of messages that are propagated in our world today until sometimes we don't know what's the Almighty's, uh, what we might say, job or thing to do. Sometimes we don't know what our role is. That's a better word, role. And there are times we also think as a spiritual species that we really have nothing to do but to live. It's a whole lot more to that. Number one, there's a whole lot more to your native status, who you are as a spiritual being. Number two, your role. You are a powerful spirit being who has the power to make choices and who has the power to contribute to reality creation. Hear me clearly. Have you noticed something? Answer this yes or no. Have you noticed something? That everything that exists in your world somehow, some way is related to what you were thinking, what you were imagining, or what you were visualizing. Have you noticed that? For example, have you noticed that you're most likely working the job you wanted to work or you thought you should work? Have you noticed that you're most likely living in the house that you chose to live in? Have you noticed you're most likely in a relationship with a person that you wanted to be in? Have you noticed this? Have anybody besides me noticed this? Have you noticed that bad or good in your world is a result of your thinking? I got a couple of yeses. I need you to really hear me because this pie in the sky onus, this responsibility of the Almighty to do anything and everything is a flawed theology to me because you were designed, hear me, in the image of the Almighty who thinks, imagines, and speaks, and things come into being and things come into existence. So, have you noticed that you are watching me on a device that came out of a thinking or the thoughts of a man or woman? Have you noticed that you drove in a vehicle that came out of the thinking of a man or a woman? Have you noticed that if you have a job or if you have a business, that the business came out of the thoughts of a mind or the thoughts, excuse me, of a man or a woman? Have you noticed that particular building of that business or that job came out of the thoughts of a man or a woman? Have you noticed that your governmental structure in this particular country, a democracy, in other countries maybe a monarchy, excuse me, in other countries maybe an aristocracy, in some countries maybe a dictatorship? But have you noticed that these forms of government came out of the thoughts of a man or a woman? What does that tell you? What that tells you is that we have a role in reality creation. And have you also noticed that the kind of life you live is largely predicated on what you believe? Have you noticed that? The kind of life you live is largely predicated on what you think. My. I hope somebody's hearing me today. So it makes it's more important, hear me, family, what you think versus what somebody else thinks. And what somebody else thinks is important if you allow it to be important. It can be relevant, family, if you allow it to be relevant. It will only work in your life if you give it relevance. And what I'm trying to say to you is that the whole sum total of your life, even your concept of God, how you relate to God and how you relate to other people, starts where? In the mind. It starts in the mind. So this text, our thematic text, where there's no vision, the people perish, as I shared with you in the Hebrew, that word is translated as sight mentally. It also means dream, revelation, or oracle. The revelation of who you are and what you are is not outside of you, it is inside of you. The revelation is internal. The revelation exists internally. I want somebody to type it in the comment section. The revelation exists internally. Type that in the comment section. The revelation exists internally. Understand that the revelation, of course, is a series of words. These words form concepts or ideas that we interpret as beliefs, whether it's a theological belief, a philosophical belief, an ideological belief. Am I making any sense? That's what the revelation is, family. So if the revelation is a message, the revelation is an uncovering, the revelation is a revealing. It is a revealing of information. Now, sometimes that information has attached to it inspiration. Fine. But it is information. It is information. Hear me. And so your interpretation of the revelation, your understanding of the revelation, what you think the revelation is, or the message of that is the revelation and what it means to you, again, consists of thoughts. It consists of words and images, and it is where? In your imagination. Lord have mercy. It is in your imagination, which means that you are responsible for it. I'm going to say it again. You are responsible for that revelation, that thing that is being revealed to you, about whatever is relevant in your personal life, wherever it has necessarily uncovered itself, whether it might be the truth about a person, the truth about a relationship, the truth about ideas, the truth about an invention, the truth about your assignment, the truth about your personal identity. It's contained in that revelation that is where? In your imagination. Your thoughts are a part of your imagination. Even what you feel is a part of your imagination. It is in the mind. Glory. Am I making any sense to anybody? So for you to think that you should put that on another being, including the devil, y'all just talk about that fella too much, means that you don't have a clear or a clear enough revelation as to who you are and how powerful you are. I intentionally start out all these productions or broadcasts. Typically, we're going to get to the I am powerful section because most people don't know that they are powerful. They don't understand that they are powerful. They think power just belongs to God. Oh, Lord have mercy. We even sing songs that indicate that power really just belongs to God. And then sometimes we'll include ourselves by quoting a couple of scriptures. But at the end of the day, we've been so busy thinking other people are powerful that we aren't powerful, or other beings are powerful, but we aren't powerful. Listen to this. That is your limited, minuscule, Lilliputian size revelation. And from that revelation is how you will produce a reality and live your life. So if you think you're powerless, you will constantly find yourself in situations where you seem to be surrounded and helpless. Lord have mercy. Somebody help me here. Is it too strong, Turk? Am I coming across too strong tonight for anybody? I'm gonna shut it down in a few minutes. Am I coming across too strong tonight? I'm trying to help you to bring things into proper view and proper context to help you to understand that this revelation is broad. This unveiling, this uncovering is broad. It's also a revelation about who you are and what you are. So it is of vital importance. It is of vital importance that you know who you are. If you're in a crowd of people and you don't know who you are, that's an issue. If you're navigating through this life and you don't know who you are, that's an issue. If you're going through this life and other people are constantly defining you or feeding you things that are not in alignment with who and what you are, then you take on the definition of whatever it is that's being taught to you, and then you start operating as that, but you really aren't that. But if you're operating as that, if you walk like a duck, if you're quacking like a duck, come on here, somebody. So, but it is possible to walk and quack like a duck and be a swan. It is possible to act like a chicken, but be an eagle. But if your revelation is, even though the body is an eagle, even though the mind is an eagle, even though the anatomical design says it's an eagle, hear me, if the mind says it's a chicken, I wish somebody heard me. If your mind is telling you that you're a chicken, I need you to hear me. Your DNA says eagle. Your eyesight says eagle. Your feathers and wings say eagles. Your talents say that you are an eagle. Your ability to fly says you are an eagle. But if your mind says you are a chicken, then that's the revelation, Lord have mercy, that you have of yourself. So I say this: revelation, imagination, manifestation. Revelation, imagination, manifestation. Revelation, imagination, manifestation. The great Muhammad Ali said this: the man who has no imagination has no wings. The man who has no imagination has no wings. We know what Proverbs 23:7 has. He thinketh in his heart, so is he. But the great, iconic Muhammad Ali is a great example of what I'm talking about. Because he said in previous interviews that he was saying that he was the greatest even before he believed he was the greatest. In other words, he was letting people know, I said it until I became it. He also talked about how he saw himself as the greatest and how he saw himself beating and defeating his opponents in his imagination, in his mind. Watch this. That was his self-revelation of who he was. Hear me real clearly. Oh my God. I sense this so strongly. I hope somebody's catching what I'm saying. I got to ask you the question, what is the revelation of yourself today? What is the revelation you have of yourself today? Because if you see that revelation, then you will be that revelation. And when I say see, I don't mean to just acknowledge it with mental assent or mental awareness. I mean seeing in, believing, feeling, and owning it, then you're going to become it. Am I making any sense? So I'm asking you the question, what is the revelation you have of myself? So I want you to type in the comment section, what is myself hyphen revelation? With a question mark at the end. Type it in the comment section. What is myself hyphen revelation? Question mark at the end. Because that's very important. One of the reasons why I consistently and constantly make these deposits or try and stir the awareness within you, because I understand that no matter what anybody says, that the ability to reach the apex and zenith of your personal life is based on your self revelation. And God, yes, is responsible for helping you to understand who you are. But sometimes what happens is that religion gets in the way of, or other things get in the way that blocks your self revelation. Self hyphen revelation. It blocks that self revelation, or it clouds that self revelation, or it muddies that self revelation. Come on here. Have you ever in your life had a task or an assignment, or maybe it was a sport, or maybe it was something you needed to accomplish in school, or maybe it was an achievement that you desired. And when you accomplished it, well, sometimes before you accomplished it, you said within yourself, I can do this. And then you did it and you were surprised that you could do it. There are a lot of things about you that you don't know you can do unless you open yourself up to the possibility to believe you can do it. And there's a lot of things about you, hear me, you don't even think you're worthy of doing and accomplishing. But if you open yourself up to the possibility that I am worthy of doing and accomplishing this thing, then you're going to see it come into fruition in your personal life. Because once you see something, you can be it. Let's go to Genesis 15 and 2. Genesis 15 and 2. Let me show you something. Genesis 15 and 2. Genesis 15 and 2. Let's look at something here. The patriarch they call Abram, whose name was later changed to Abraham in, Judaic texts in the Torah. It says, and Abram said, Lord God, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless? And the steward of my house is this Eliezer of Damascus. This is after the encounter that Abram had with his God, who said to him that, we'll read verse 1. And these things, the word of the Lord came unto Abraham in a vision, saying, fear not, Abraham, I am thy shield and exceeding and great reward. He promised him offspring. Verse 2 in the previous text of Genesis 14 or Genesis 13. Abraham's wife is barren. Then he got a bunch of servants. Look at verse 3. So he's thinking, I don't qualify for this. Understand the spiritual and metaphysical lesson in this. Verse 3. And Abram said, behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is mine heir. Verse 4. And behold, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, this shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be your heir. It's not a servant. It's not anybody else. It's somebody you're going to produce, despite you considering your barrenness. All right. Verse 5. And he brought him forth abroad and said, look now toward heaven and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, so shall thy seed be. Verse 6. And he believed in the Lord, and he counted it to him for righteousness. Now, a lot of times when people see this text, they say, okay, he wanted him to see the vast number of stars and then realize that he was going to have a whole lot of offspring. That's true. But there's a psychological message in that. There's a metaphysical principle in that. There's a spiritual principle in that. He wanted Abraham to see it. My goodness. And the way he could see it was the stars were a reference point, hear me, to stimulate his imagination, to enable him to start believing according to the image that he saw in his mind, given to him by his creator, that you are going to have a lineage, you're going to produce a group of people that are likened to the amount of stars you see in the sky. So now, guess what? From that moment forward, guess what Abraham would see, most likely see in his mind whenever he got discouraged? The image of the stars equating to his offspring. Come on now. I need you to hear me real clearly. God wanted him to develop an image. Hear me. This is a revelation. This is a revelation that's taught conceptually through an image. Through an image. That image is etched in his heart. That image is etched in his mind. Even when his body begins to deteriorate, that I have a promise, but within the context of this promise, barrenness is not my portion. Barrenness is not my end. I'm going to produce an heir that's going to lead to more generations of people who are genetically connected to me, and it's going to be as many as the stars that I could see in heaven. And I'm saying to you right now, you got to have the right image of yourself. Ooh, I just said a word there. I just said a word there. God knew that the image of the stars was something he could relate to. It's something he could hold on to. It's something that he could see in his own mind. There are things in terms of images that you and I hold on to in a negative sense and in a positive sense. And God wanted him to be able to relate to his multiplicative proclivities in relation to the enumeration of stars. And I'm saying to you that from that image, Abraham starts seeing himself as a progenitor of a people who would be numbered by the thousands. Oh, come on now. Catch what I'm saying today. Catch what I'm saying today. What's really fascinating, and we don't have time to get into why it is like this, but what's really fascinating is that we know that in the Hebrew, Abram means high father, but Abraham is supposed to be defined in Hebrew as the father of a multitude or father of a nation. I need you to catch what I'm saying. What I want you to know is that you are going to produce in your life based on the image you carry in your heart of yourself and based on the image you carry in your heart of your God. I need you to catch what I'm saying today. So hear me. You can hear as many wonderful messages as you want to hear. If you don't have the right image of yourself, then you're not going to see the fulfillment of greatness in your life. You and I right now, and in the metaphysical world, it's called self-concept. Psychological world is called self-image. If your self-image is poor, then you're most likely going to produce a lifestyle and a life that's poor. Because how you see yourself determines how you relate to your God. And how you see yourself determines how you relate to everything else. Hear me. And if you see yourself as limited, you're going to produce a limited life. If you see yourself as unintelligent, you're going to constantly produce things in your world that line up with your belief in that image that you're not intelligent. If you see yourself as a failure, you will constantly produce results in your life that say you're a failure. If you see yourself as not good in relationships, then you will constantly produce relationships that's not good. If you see yourself that's unworthy of love, then you will constantly produce people in your life who treat you like you're not worthy of love. Hear me. If you continue to see the image of yourself as one who always makes mistakes and can't never get nothing right, then you're going to constantly cause things in your life to come into alignment with that belief system, because it's all based on the image you see of yourself, and the image you have of yourself is the one that you believe. Ooh, did I say too much right there? Let me see how many minutes I got left. I got a few minutes. Did I say too much right there? I can't. I'm not on Facebook. I ought to be seeing some likes and hearts. Listen, 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 listen. Hear what I'm saying today. Hear what I'm saying today. If you're looking in the mirror and saying, I'm incapable, you're going to manifest a life of incapability. I want you to catch what I'm saying. And I've done a series, remember, on the Gideon syndrome. And I talked to you about how that the Spirit of the Lord or Spirit of God is sitting under the Oprah tree watching Gideon thresh wheat at a wine press, knowing his psychological conditioning, knowing he had an inferiority complex. And the first thing he says to Gideon is, Gideon, thou mighty man of valor, the Lord is with thee. You know why? Because God knew he had an inferior image of who he was. The first thing Gideon says is a complaint. The first thing Gideon speaks is negativity and pessimism, doom and gloom. Hear me. He sees he and his people as a weak, powerless, helpless victim. Let me repeat this in another way. Just like Gideon saw himself and his people that way, that's why they continue to manifest a lifestyle of being vulnerable to the raids of their enemies that surrounded them. It wasn't just the disconnect between them and their God or understanding their God. It was a disconnect within them of not knowing their greatness of being chosen, not knowing their greatness of being in power, not knowing their greatness of being who they really were and who they really are. And I'm talking to people right now who don't know who they are. And if you think that you are a victim, then you will manifest a world of where you're always victimized. If you think that you're inferior because of the color of your skin, then you will manifest scenarios and situations, hear me, that already heighten your experiences with racism that already exist in the world. If you think that you should settle for less, then you will constantly make decisions of settling for less and manifest outcomes that you are not satisfied with. Hear me, that's got nothing to do with the Almighty. That's not got nothing to do with that other fellow y'all talk about all the time more than you talk about God. That's got everything to do with your self-image. I got to ask you, what is your self-revelation? And how do you see yourself? Hear me. If you keep thinking that I'm not a high value woman or a high value man, then you're going to carry yourself like you're not a high value woman or a high value man. Come on now. And you've got to learn how to do like the great Muhammad Ali and see it in your imagination and speak it until it comes to pass. You've got to learn how to do what the scripture tells you to do in terms of declaring that death and life is in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof, and recognize that you will eat the fruit of what you think, imagine, and speak. You've got to speak or call those things that be not as though they were. You've got to speak the outcome that you desire. And where does it begin? In your imagination. I defined it last week, the faculty or action of forming new ideas or images or concepts of external objects not present to the senses, the act or power of forming a mental image of something not present to the senses, never before wholly perceived in reality. And last but not least, the ability of the mind to be creative or resourceful. In other words, in your imagination, it's not rooted in the physical. It's not rooted in the three-dimensional. It's rooted in a dimension that's invisible and that is above the physical. This is where it begins for you and for me. This is where you start seeing it to become it and then see it produce in your personal life. And I say to you again, it is important that you even see yourself the way you ought to see yourself, so that you can be the self that you desire to be. Lord have mercy. Am I making any sense to anybody? Somebody talk back to me. I don't know if y'all giving me likes and hearts or not. Nobody hardly talking to me. I hope this message is resonating. I'm going to finish with Joshua. And I'm going to be done. I'm going to finish with Joshua, and I'm going to be done. But let me quote from George Bernard Shaw. George Bernard Shaw says, imagination is the beginning of creation. You imagine what you desire, you will what you imagine, and at last you create what you will. End quote. I want you to see and know that your precious faith is a part of your imagination, and you are to use your faith to create the outcome that you desire. You are to use your faith to create the outcome that you know. You are to use your faith to create the outcome that you are worthy of and that you know that you're worthy of. Hear me. Hear me. I'm out of time, but I was going to quote from some studies, but I'll bring it up next week. I'll bring it up next week. And before I get to Joshua, do you know that the greatest athletes in the world use their imagination to play games in their self, within themselves, to create the reality of the game and the conditions of the game before they ever walk out on the court, before they ever walk out on the field? Hear me. Muhammad Ali did it. Tom Brady does it. Russell Wilson does it. Lindsey Vonn does it. I can go on and on. Michael Phelps, the famous Olympic skier, says he imagines all his races and all his moves and all his techniques in his mind first. I need you to catch what I'm saying. If you catch this message, family, you won't be sitting around helpless talking about you waiting on God. What he has empowered you. If you catch this message, it will change and shift the way you see yourself. If you catch this message, it will change the way you live and the way you are and the way you walk and the way you move in this present world. Catch what I'm saying. If you catch this message, you'll stop begging. If you catch this message, you'll stop pleading. If you catch this message, you'll stop thinking you need this, that, and the other to be done for you. And you'll recognize that God gave you permission, endorsement, and the power to create it in co-concert with him from within. Last but not least, you know what? Let me see. Let me stop there. I'm going to stop there. I'm going to get to Joshua next week. I'm going to pick up on Joshua next week. See it to be it. Type it in the comment section. See it to be it. Type it in the comment section. See it to be it. See it to be it. Can you see it? Can you see a flourishing business? Can you see your leadership? Can you see your impact on your family in a most positive way? Can you see yourself prospering? Can you see yourself in that job role that you desire? See it to be it. The revelation is about your situation. But more importantly, the revelation is also above the physical, corporeal components because it is divine, it is spiritual. But if you can see that, you are it. You are that. I'm going to say it again. If you can see that, you become that, then you are that. Oh, my God. My God. Almighty, I thank you for this time and space and for your prolific impartation into those who open their hearts and minds to receive. I thank you. In Yeshua's name, by his power and consciousness, it is so. And so it is. I got to ask you the question. What are you praying for? What are you desiring in your personal life? What do you want to see happen for not just you, but for other people? And I'm telling you now, the answer to that starts with what you see inside. It begins with whatever revelation you see concerning yourself, whatever vision you have concerning yourself. That's where it begins. Change your vision, change your life, change your imagination. You will change your situation. Change what you see, and you would change what you are. Type it in the comment section. When I change what I see, I will change what I am. Type that in the comment section. When I change what I see, I will change what I am. When I change what I see, I will change what I am. I'm typing it. All right, I'm going to release you tonight with the shalom blessing. Love you. If you want to give, use the giving opportunities at the bottom of the screen. Thank you so much. Yes, when I change what I see, I will change what I am. I bid all of you shalom, shalom, peace, wholeness, and prosperity. Nothing missing and nothing broken. It is so, and so it is. Family, enjoy your night. Thank you for checking in. And remember, see it to be it.